All right, should be working now. Let me know if you guys can hear me. It should be working now. Hey, Hayden, good morning. How's it doing, buddy? All good? Can you hear me fine, or are we still having audio issues? I think should be working now. Morning, David. How's it going, buddy? All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Hope you all had fun. Hope you took some time to relax. Forget about the market for a little bit. And hey, like the fresh week, fresh start, right? Forget about the past. If you guys if anyone lost money last week, let this be a fresh start for you. Today we're gonna do something a little bit new. We're gonna go through the news. So I already have some news prepared for you guys. And we're going to go over the weekly watch list. And we're going to then analyze a few stocks and stuff like that until the market opens. All right. So, if this is like, if you guys end up liking this, we can do this like, we can start doing this a lot more. Right. But a little bit of good news here is we We finally crossed 10K. Yay. We crossed 10K on the options account. So that was pretty cool, right? It took 28 days, plus whatever we have in the futures account. So that's nice too. But anyway, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go over the futures a little bit, and then we're gonna hit the news, and then we're gonna hit the weekly watch list. All right. So let's see here what we got for the futures. Okay, so for the futures, we have here consolidation, right? So far, we have not been seeing anything on the futures. So the blue lines here are major intraday lines, and are major supports and resistance, and the orange lines are intraday supports and resistance. Now I changed the colors just so we're able to delete them once the day is over, because the chart really does get messy. But as you guys can see here, we have not been seeing much at all, if anything at all, from the futures, right? Pretty boring pre-market, and this makes sense. Now, if you guys had a look through my watch list, you guys would know that I do expect a pullback to be happening sometime soon here. I do think we test 3,970 at the very least, but I think realistically probably will be heading all the way down to 3,927, right? So those are my expectations, for today. I expect we have a healthy pullback. Now, speaking of the healthy pullback, right? If we have a look at the one-day chart here, right? So what constitutes a healthy pullback? So in order for it to be a healthy pullback, we need to be making, a higher low here. So we spoke about this a bunch of times, but we have here a low, a higher low, a higher low. This also is a higher low. So what we're looking for here is to also put in here a higher low, right? We finally broke through this level here. This was a difficult level. This was some major resistance here, and we broke through it, right? Did a good job doing that as well. So the idea here is that where do we have our next major supports? So the next major support, beneath us right now is at 3,970. Below that we have 3,927. That would still be a higher low, right? And then beneath that we have 3,870, right? So I would say 3,970 is a realistic target for a bounce, going down all the way here and then putting in a higher low. But you kind of really want to stay in this area here if possible, right? You do not want, it is expected that we'll probably go a little bit lower than, the high that we made here. So anything in this region is a very strong, healthy pullback, and then we go up and test the 200 MA on the daily, which is my target for now. For this month, my target, is hitting the 200 MA on the daily, and then from there we'll reassess. We have a lot of economic things this month. We still have the GDP. We have PPI that will be tomorrow, I believe. GDP towards the end of the month. So we have a lot of things coming up. Like this is not over here. So all these things can make the market go up a lot, or it can make it go down a lot. Like if we get a positive GDP print, man, like that would be crazy, right? So we're gonna have to just wait and see here, right? If we get a positive GDP print, that means we're not heading toward a recession, technically speaking. So that would kind of hint that the Fed is succeeding in giving us a soft landing. But realistically speaking, I don't think that's going to happen. Like Jerome Powell said in the last FOMC meeting, he flat out said it. He's like, there is still hope, but realistically speaking, it's not gonna happen. He didn't say it flat out like that, but he kind of said it. So I don't think anyone at this point expects a soft landing, but you never know, right? You never know. So in all cases, from a technical standpoint here, we're purely set up for a nice pullback and then run to hit the 200 MA. This just makes sense in my opinion. And like I said, from there we reassess. Okay. So Angelique says, good morning, Ash. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Angelique. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Morning, David and Hayden. If I already haven't said that, thank you so much, guys, for joining me a little bit early here today. We're just trying something new where we go over the watch list at the beginning of every week, and then I have all this news lined up for us so we can discuss what's going on in the market, what happened across the weekend, and all that stuff, right? So for the plan here, so this is the challenge updates. Now, we already spoke this at the beginning of the video, but we finally, wait, do I have the correct one here? It's 10,000, not 1,000. Oh, starting amount. Okay, yeah. So options account here, 10K. So that was nice. Futures account a little bit lagging here at 1,900. But overall, we're doing well. We're doing a lot. We're focusing really so much on the options account, so it makes sense that will move a lot more than the futures one. It is what it is. Now, for major economic events for this week, we have a bunch of Fed speakers, a lot of Fed speakers this week, and it's going to be important. Actually, it's going to be pretty important because we have been hearing, I don't want to say contradicting things, but we had the Fed speaker Walker. He spoke about the 50 point rate hike yesterday, and we're gonna discuss this when it comes to the news bit. But like he discussed that yesterday, he was a little bit hawkish with other remarks. So it's gonna be very, very interesting to hear what everyone has to say here, because the Fed, from what we've been hearing, is a little bit divided, right? So you have people in the Jerome Powell. The people who are like Jerome Powell, they believe that the road to salvation is just raising interest rates, keep hiking. And then you have, of course, the other camp, which believes that no, we should not be doing any more interest rates here, no more hikes, this is too much, you'll break the economy. And they're a little bit dovish, right? So it's going to be very interesting to hear from them because we have not heard from a lot of these people since the CPI report came out. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they're thinking, right? Of course, we already had today Biden and Xi Jinping meeting, right, in the G20 summit. We'll also be discussing that in the news bit. On Tuesday, we have PPI, very important, at 8:30, and we have, of course, the Fed speaker Cook speaking at around 9. So both these events are pre-market. Now PPI usually just follows CPI. I think we are yet to have a report where they were like contradicting. So expectations here is that it will be a little pump, not a big one, just like a small pump. They'll push us up a little bit. I don't think It will affect the market much more than that. I believe it's already priced in, but again, we'll have to wait and see. On Wednesday, we get retail sales for October, which of course is going to be extremely important. We also have, Fed Speaker Williams and Waller, again, two very important Feds. Both of these will be speaking as the market opens, so it's very important for us to make sure we're not in something that's very sensitive to whatever they say. So like before and after they speak, no 0 day expiry, stuff like that. Usually there's a little volatility or someone could misunderstand and it can screw up your whole play, right? So even if what you don't care about what they say, the market does and it does react to them. So just make sure you're not in something like that's time sensitive when these folks are talking, right? And then finally on Thursday, we have, of course, the UK autumn budget. This, of course, is a very, very, very important piece of event, not just for the UK, but pretty much for the whole world at this point because of what's happening in the UK. The UK, we're gonna come across this when it comes to the news, but the UK is actually no longer the biggest, no longer has the biggest stock exchange in Europe. It used to be the London Stock Exchange, now it's Paris, right? So GDP took a hit after Liz Truss made some very weird and disastrous decisions, so basically here the expectations is that Sunak was gonna just do the exact opposite of everything that she did just to restore confidence. Even if it's gonna be very hard, even if he can't even do it, he has to come out and say the opposite of everything she said. Otherwise, there is no road to salvation, right? He can't really double down on the crazy things that she said. He too will be kicked out. Pretty much like his platform that he ran on is the opposite of everything that she ran on. So it would make sense that he would just come in and do the sensible thing here. So my expectations is this could be a little pound British pound play if you're into that, if you're into forex. I'm gonna be playing it here in the futures account. I'm gonna long the pound just a little bit before that event. I don't know the time, I couldn't find it yet, but I'll figure it out. And if anyone is interested, just let me know in the Discord, and I'll let you know the exact timing for it. But the pound could really move on this one here, right? And you can take the other side of the play also is shorting the pound against shorting the dollar against the pound as well. That could be something else you can do. So I don't know, a bunch of possible plays here. Of course, you can long British equities, especially like bank stocks and stuff like that. A lot that can be done here. So once that day comes, we will discuss it. We'll see what plays we will take. But for the most part, I'll be taking the British pound long, right? We don't really have anything major here besides PPI. Everything else here is more an off of an FYI than it is like a play that we'll take, with the exception of the pound. So yeah, I would say this is it. We also have housing numbers that I usually don't include. They come out every month, but again, we know that the only thing from the demand side that the Fed can control, the only thing that is still keeping inflation higher than it possibly could be is housing. Now, one thing to know here, that housing, the metrics that they use for CPI are lagging metrics, right? So whatever the Fed did, whatever the actual numbers right now have not yet caught up to whatever is in that report. So we're seeing old numbers, right? So expectations by most people is that rent and all that stuff will come down a lot next CPI report. So that's another bullish indicator for the market overall, right? So if as long as we maintain what we have now, not do anything really on its own, rent will come down to just its actual real numbers, and we'll get an even better CPI report. So that will be 2 times CPI going down, which is going to be extremely bullish, right? I don't know. I'm getting like bullish vibes all over, from technicals, from market catalysts, all the stuff. It feels like like the bottom is very close here. But again, we play day by day, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. Now for earnings, I just want to go over a few things here. That earnings are lottos, right? So when I say lotto, I mean 5%. That's as much as you can go. 10% if you know you're a little bit drunk, you're a little bit high, you're feeling crazy. 10% and that's it. Like you don't go more than that, and you absolutely do not full port into earnings. You can get everything right with earnings. Excellent guidance, revenue a beat, EPS beat, the stock moves up and then it starts going down because the CEO said something stupid, or vice versa, right? They miss everything, horrible guidance, and then like a GME situation where the CEO would just save his ass came out and said, we're doing an FTX partnership. We're gonna sell gift cards. After GameStop fell by like 5-6% on the miss, it ran up like 15% by the end of that night. So you can have everything right and it can still go against you. So never full port into earnings. Don't forget also IV Crush and all that stuff. Speaking of IV Crush, always check IV before buying. So pretty much all platforms will show you what the current IV for an option is. Now the problem with IV is if it's too high, as soon as the market open, everyone will be looking to exit their positions if it's profitable at the same time, or if it's losing at the same time. So there's a lot of selling right at the gate and it gets absolutely crushed. It decreases the value of the contracts, so you lose money just on that alone, right? So it's basically a game of not even cat and mouse, a game of like who can do this quicker, right? So that alone will make you lose money, even if you bought this contract a long while back when IV was low. You only benefit as long as you hold the contract and the IV increases, right? So let's say you bought a contract 3 weeks out or 4 weeks out from earnings, right? So you bought it then, your contract will increase in value, your premium will increase because IV is going higher, but you will still have the same effect. You will still get IV crushed the morning of earnings. Nothing really changed, right? Because IV for your contract increased all the way up to the day of the earnings. The only way you can avoid IV crush altogether is to buy far out, like a contract that expires very far out from earnings, right? Like a month out or something, or 6 weeks out, something like that. This way you can totally avoid IV crush. Not totally, but somewhat avoid IV crush, right? So also a question that I get asked a lot is, when do I sell? Guys, I always sell at the open. You know me, I love locking in profit. I'm a lock your profit kind of guy, right? So at the open, if I am up or down in all cases, because IV is so spiked, right? It will take a lot. Like a stock, let's say for example, is at $10. After the earnings and they were good, let's say it was 5, it jumped up to 10, right? At the open, let's say it goes down a little bit, right? So let's say your contracts were worth $100. Open, you get IV crushed, your contract will go down to maybe like $5 or $6. In order for it to go again to $100 in value, right? It's not just going back up to 10. No, it probably is gonna need to go to at least like 15 or 14 to get the same premium again. So always sell at the open and rebuy after all the Greeks have settled down. This is what I do at least, right? So Dushamo, I'm sorry, I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. It says, LOL if you're limiting. I love you too, buddy. Angelique says, did you see VIX? I saw it in the morning. It was like 7.5%, something like that. Did it go up some more? Let's see here. No, I went down a little bit here at 24. Yeah, we will get to VIX in a little bit because it's one of the plays, but this means pretty much VIX hit my target. So first check here for that play. I will get into it because the exact level where it's at right now is a trigger for us to get into a play. So we'll get to it very soon. Now for earnings, I'm not doing Walmart because I don't have an edge. Angelique has a play, and if she's willing to share her DD with us, that'd be cool. If not, no worries. But I could not find anything that would sway me one way or the other. Option flow has been very unhelpful. I could not find, it was literally split between bulls and bears, which is kind of bearish given like we've been very bullish the past few days. I don't know. I have nothing here. Nothing that is similar reported. I have no clue. So I'm just gonna wait, and I'm gonna use Walmart as an actual kind of indicator for Target and Lowe's and all that stuff, right? Now, but we do have Home Depot, right? So Home Depot reports here before the open on the 15th, and I actually think that they're gonna miss here, right? We saw CPI numbers, we saw CPI, and like the whole idea here is that when people don't have Home Depot said that themselves actually in their earnings call, last earnings call, is people don't spend money on their house when times are bad, and it just makes perfect sense, right? So we saw how what home sales numbers looked like for the past couple of reports. It's everything is just basically crashing, and I'll show you some numbers when it comes to the news bit. So the idea here is yeah, I don't think people are going out there and buying stuff for their house at the moment. I think this is a decision that they will probably, like do once the housing market starts to recover. So I think puts here will be a good call, right? Let's see here. David Wang is saying AMD is really green, Nvidia is turning green. I usually use this as my indicator for the QQQ. Well, I mean, AMD and Nvidia both are a decent part of the QQQ, but of course, Apple is king, like bar none. Tesla also is a big part, much bigger than AMD and Nvidia, but of course there are good indicators. AMD is really green because they got an upgrade, which is again part of the news. I think we should have started with the news because I keep going back part of the news every 5 minutes. Next time we're just gonna start with the news. But yeah, like AMD got an increase. They got an upgrade actually, and that's why they're running pretty high, which is good. Nvidia, last time I saw it was red. I don't know if it's green or not. Then Angelique says Nvidia is red, down $1. Yeah, last time I checked it was like it's been red all morning, and it probably will just end up being red. AMD is only up because of the upgrade, which by the way, I mean, like, we're just gonna talk about Nvidia and I think puts, but this is not an indicator that Nvidia is bad or is gonna miss or anything like that, because the whole market is red. So it's not something specific to Nvidia. AMD is the outlier this time, right? So Nvidia, like I just said, puts, and the reason why is I know a lot of people, some people argue that Nvidia and AMD are not very similar, but they are in some respects, right? You cannot expect, like, if AMD has problems with consumer demand, I don't believe that is because Nvidia is just taking all their users, right? If AMD is having this problem, Nvidia is having their problem. Yes, I know there are differences between the graphics card and the users, but again, you're just trying to gauge the overall market here. But if this feels flimsy to you, that is okay. You can just skip out on this play. We have other plays here. We're gonna have plays throughout the whole week. So if Nvidia is not making sense to you, if my reasoning sounds wrong, then to you, hey, like, again, like, you're responsible for your own plays, so feel free to skip this or ignore this. Baba seems to me like an obvious one, right? Like, is the COVID zero policy. One can argue is because of the COVID zero policy that, hey, people are probably using online shopping more, but who's gonna deliver the stuff? You know what I mean? What about the supply chain issues? What about all that stuff? What about the big huge problem between the CEO of Baba and the Chinese government? Old as that may be, China does not forgive and forget. So again, I don't see how they could have had like a good quarter. I don't think it'll be a huge disaster, but I'm not really seeing it as like a great quarter sort of thing. At least for me. Now, other notable companies that were excluded, right? So we have Cisco, which I believe also reports with Nvidia. It had a very, very small implied move. If I remember correctly, I think it was calls on Cisco. I can't really remember based on my DD. But it was I think it was like a 3% or something implied move, so I skipped it. Like, too much risk, low reward. I don't need it. Target and low, like we said, I'm gonna wait for Walmart to just start gauging the market a little bit here. Tencent and JD, again, they are similar to Baba, right? So I expect, like, they do report before, like a JD reports after. So I think, like, if Baba goes up or down, JD will accordingly as well go up or down. They're very, very similar businesses. So I think, like, just based on that, the market will already price in a move, and again, the implied move becomes very, very small then, and it's just not worth the risk, right? So yeah, to me, it's just like not worth it, right? So that's it for earnings. We are towards the very end, the tail end of the earnings season. So these are gonna become very sparse, if any at all, because pretty much I think what was it, like 91, 92% of all companies in the SPY are already reported. So yeah, I think like we're just getting to a place where that's done. So yeah. Now, as for the watch list itself, now a lot of people asked, right, like about Lily, and if it's a good long because people, because they had a very very red day during when bull market, which was around the same time. Some idiot put out a tweet, impersonating Eli Lilly and saying that, hey, we're gonna give away our insulin for free, which in a perfect world they would, like it's a very serious disease, but that is not the topic of this video here. So I don't buy for a fraction of a second. And I do say it here, at best this is comical, this is funny, and at worst it's just plain stupid. Eli Lilly did not lose $20 billion because of a tweet, okay? And for so many reasons that I don't believe that we need to explain them, but I'm just gonna explain them. $20 billion to lose $20 billion in market cap. This is institutional level selling. And guys, Goldman Sachs is not they're not trading, and they have a screen that has Twitter open on it, and they're just reading what's going on there. They have Bloomberg's, right? They have Wall Street Journal, which actually is, like this is where a Bloomberg Journal gets its news from, in the terminal. They have, Bloomberg itself. They have, I believe, Reuters and Wall Street Journal. So again, they're not really looking at Twitter. A monkey could have known this. We all know that there's a lot of impersonation going on. This is not a new topic. This is not. When I saw this, I was like, yeah, this is like a joke, obviously, And then I double checked, and it was like obvious joke. And so yeah, I mean, common sense. B, big institutional investors capable of taking Eli Lilly down, selling that much and bringing it down that low, are not really looking for investment ideas from Twitter, right? And third, and most important of all, is that if that was the case, once people realize, and people realize very quickly that this is not the real account, you would have seen a very quick V-shaped recovery. So people sold, they realize, hey, there's no reason to sell, so they buy back again, and you see a V-shaped recovery. This is not what we saw. Eli Lilly has not recovered yet. And more importantly, Eli Lilly and everyone in the healthcare sector was down. Remember, we're talking about that last stream. You can go check the last stream, and we're talking about that. And I was like, the only thing that's dragging down the SPY right now is the healthcare sector, because the healthcare sector is the second biggest component of the SPY, right? So it's tech, healthcare, then finance. A lot of people think it's tech and finance. No, it's actually tech, healthcare, then finance, right? So being the second most weighted component of the SPY, it was weird to see the SPY rally that much and healthcare not go along with it. Now, I have not found, me or anyone else have not found an actual logical reason as to why it dropped. But of course, it makes sense if everything in the sector is dropping. There is probably some pretty bad news coming out. Otherwise, if it was because of the tweet, and it's not because of the tweet, but let's just, for argument's sake, say it's because of the tweet. Yeah, this is gonna recover a lot. But the play here is a long, but for a technical recovery, not an actual recovery, right? So by that, I mean, if we go here and check out Lilly here, you would see that on the 1 hour chart, let's see here. So on the daily chart, it held the 21 MA. So we're gonna see a little bit of a bounce here. And B, on the 1 hour chart, you're gonna see it's very close to 21 MA. So at the very least, it's gonna test it, right? And yeah, looks like the play is fucked. Yeah, we already got there pre-market. Oh well. Well, at least I was right. Pat on the back. But we missed out on the play. It's up 2%. I was expecting, for it to hopefully like open like this. This was the expectation, because this was after hours. We were not seeing any buying pressure. But yeah, I would not go long now in Eli Lilly, just for one very simple reason. This sell-off happened for a reason, and we don't know what it is. Eli Lilly to me was good for a scalp or a day trade, nothing more. we might have some very bad news that really affects the healthcare sector come out at any moment, or could be nothing. Who knows? But too risky for me. Not enough meat on the bone for me to justify a play here. You can maybe scalp a move to test the 50 MA. That could be a possible play here. But beyond that, I don't really see a play. As you can see here, Eli Lilly pretty much has been just consolidating really. So slow moves up. So for me, this play was right, but it is already invalidated. Speaking of that, because I told you guys we'll talk about the VIX, right? So I say here in the VIX, I said I expect in the case we get a pullback, which is sort of what's happening right now. The pullback has not unfolded yet, right? This is not the extent of it. This is on the SPY. It is a red day, but it's sort of a consolidation day yet, right? So I said I expect the VIX to shoot up to at least 24.4, right? So right now, if we go here and check the VIX, we see it right now at 23.9, but yeah, it hit our level here, as you can see. Yeah, 24.3, right? It hit our level here and then bounced back up, and we have a very nice gap down here, which is gonna make this play even better, right? So the idea here is pull back, right? VIX shoot up. Now why is the VIX up 7% today? Is today gonna be like a 2% down day for SPY? Maybe. I'll be very shocked if that happens. I really doubt it. The whole idea is that the reason why we had a crazy run up, it was because it was a huge short squeeze, right? A big part of the run up was just shorts covering, right? So for the most part, people and of course anyone who had SPY hedges got out of them, right? So for the most part, people are not really hedged properly right now, right? So the VIX is up a lot, not because the market will go down a lot. It could. I'm not saying it would, but I'm saying this is not the direct reason. As of now, it is just everyone was unhedged. So people know that there might be a pullback coming, and who knows if it's just a pullback or we're going down to make new lows, right? We still don't know that yet. So people are rehedging again after they got all squeezed, after they got out. If anyone had any puts, they're probably worthless now. And if any short, they were hedging with shorts again. Those are all out. So of course people are buying SPX and SPY puts, and of course this is why the VIX will shoot up. So this to me is not a huge reason for concern. This was expected, and as you guys can see, as per the plan that I put out yesterday, it's unfolding beautifully. So I will start scaling in VIX calls here. By the way, you can buy VIX now. As you can see here, the market is open. You can buy VIX anytime. I did get a VIX. Actually, no, I didn't get any VIX. Let me see here. Yeah, no, I didn't get any VIX. I have just SPY. Okay, so no, but I will be getting a VIX right around these levels here. We have a big gap here to fill. My expectations is that if it is indeed a pullback and then we start making our way to the 200 MA on the daily, then I think we test this level here, the low of August, right? This was around the Jackson Hole meeting at 19.5. So from 24 to 19.5, a 5-point drop on VIX is huge. Just so you can understand the scale of this move, the VIX right now is up 6%, and that's only 1.38, right? So you can imagine a $5 or a 5-point move, that's going to be at least like 20%, something like that, or 18%, in that range. So a lot of money to be made possibly here if we are right about this. Okay, so before we get back into this, let's see. Sizian, good morning, my friend. How's it going, buddy? Just got here. Did you mention Walmart or DWAG? I mentioned Walmart. I said I don't have a play for it. I did say Angelique has. I think she's taking calls, so I believe she has DD. I could not find an edge personally, but if she's willing to share the DD with us, I'm happy to discuss it. But I personally could not find anything, so I'm just gonna let it go. DWAC will come to it at the end. It's our 10 bagger. Sizian says, I just read your read up. Nice. I disagree about Trump. He is the type that will feel weak, maybe ego, if he doesn't announce after already delaying it once. We will talk about that as well. It is a very important component. And just again, I want to preface this, which I already did in the write-up, and I will once we talk about DWAC. But again, guys, we talk about politics as far as it affects the economy and it affects the market. This is not a politics channel. I'm not. I don't care. You can be Republican or Democrat or whatever the hell you want. I don't really care. So, but yeah. So, okay. That being said, though, let's go back to the SPY and then we'll go into DWAC because Cesium does bring up a very good point that we do need to discuss here. So, SPY short. So, SPY short is sort of unfolding right now. And let's see here. So, at some point, this was down 0.5%. Again, so far, this is a consolidation move. We have not seen yet a pullback. It is not a must that we get a pullback. We can definitely see consolidation, and then a move up. As you can see here, remember I told you this, guys, because a lot of people were piling into puts because, you know, the RSI was oversold, and I get where you guys were coming from. But I told you guys the RSI can reset without it having to go down a lot, right? Again, sideways movement will reset the RSI on its own, right? So yeah, just something to keep in mind. So we might again, expectations here is this support here test, maybe 50 MA test, and possibly 3,927 test. Line in the sand ish would be 3,870. Below that, things start to get a little bit worrisome for the bullish case overall. But again, if it does go that low, we are already input, so at least we are in the right place. So yeah. Now that being said, once we exit our shorts, once we get our confirmation, let me actually show you on the SPY. That will be easier because I have levels here for the SPY, and I know a lot of you guys prefer working with the SPY. So for the SPY here, the equivalent levels here will be 395 exactly, right? 395 here. So this level will be our first target. 392 or 391.88, we're okay with that. So far here, still a healthy pullback. 388, this is where 388 50 MA also, but probably by the time we get there it will catch up. 388 is kind of where I would like it to stop, right? This is where I'd be like, you know what, like this is enough of pullback. It's time for the bulls to show up. It's time for the bulls to step up, or this is where we need to reconsider. The good thing about that is that we, like I said, if that is the case, we already are inputs, so we don't have any long exposure, so we're fine. But again, we will be trimming as we go down, and once we get a confirmation, right? So a confirmation will be something like testing this line and then breaking back up in here again. So it's not just like tests here and then it moves up a little bit, and right here, we're getting in calls. No, that would be a very risky move. You want to risk it. Of course, that is your prerogative. But for me, it will be testing this and then eventually making its way up here. We can consolidate before a bigger move up, sure. But you want to see some, you want to see signs that, hey, this will hold, right? So you want to see test it, like once and twice, right? So once we're out of shorts, we will get into SPY longs for this week. Right, so we're gonna have to wait and see. Could be the PPI is the PPI could be the trigger that pulls the market down, right? Gives us a healthy pullback and then we run up again. Or PPI could be we could pull back today, and PPI could be the trigger that pushes up some more, right? But in all cases, PPI for the most part is priced in, and probably priced in as a beat. So I don't really like. We have never. I don't remember. You guys can like. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember like anytime there was divergence between the CPI and the PPI, right? Anyway, so that being said, we have the final play here on our watch list, our bonus possible 10 bag play here. DWAC, very controversial company owned by a very controversial man, and we're gonna discuss something very controversial right now. So I said this 5 minutes ago and I wrote it here, and I will say again, I don't endorse anyone. I don't condemn anyone. I honestly don't care. For those of you on Discord already know my opinion on politics. I actually dislike all of them. So yeah, that being said, right, let's see what we can get out of this. So my thesis here, let's start with my thesis, and then we'll bring up the points that you guys said. So the idea here is that we all know, of course, that Trump promised there will be a very big announcement a week ago, and then he came out and said, no, I'm gonna delay that announcement to the 15th, right? And sorry about that. The 15th will be tomorrow, right? So everyone, of course, is expecting that this announcement will be him announcing his that he's going to start campaigning. He's going to start his intentions of running for president, right? So very, very big deal, very, very important, right? Something that's definitely going to affect the markets, not just DWAC, but all right. So for most people, and me included, right? Initially, before the midterm election results and everything, I was like, hey, DWAC calls, right? This is the lot of play here. Let's do some DWAC calls because, hey, even if he wins or loses, does not matter. The idea is that he will come out, he will announce his nomination, and we're going to see DWAC run up just on that announcement. And then we'll get out, and let DWAC do its thing. And it will be a discussion for a different day, right? But here's what happened, right? So the idea is that everyone and their mother was expecting all Trump nominees and to just like they were expecting basically a landslide win, right? But that did not happen. Okay, so again, ask yourself, why did Trump delay the announcement? Trump, Cesium brings up a point that he is emotional and all that stuff. I don't think so. Trump knows exactly what he's doing. Like him or hate him, you don't get to become the president of the United States by being a stupid guy, right? Let's just be super objective here, right? You don't stumble into being the president of the most powerful nation in the world, right? It's not something you luck into, right? So, dubious as he may be, again, I would not call Trump stupid, right? But he is calculating, in my opinion, right? And what I believe it, and this is not just my opinion. A lot of people said the same thing. He delayed from his nomination till the 15th because he wanted to see what was going to happen with a few swing states, right? A few very important states, and he wanted to know what's going to happen with them. Namely, in this case, Nevada, right? Again, and this came as an upset. And as of right now, actually, Democrats took over the Senate, right? No one was expecting that. Everyone was expecting, the red wave, if you will, and it's looking more like a blue wave than it is a red wave so far. This means that Trump does not have the same pull that he expected that he would have. Me included, everyone else thought that Trump will name his people and these people will get elected immediately, right? But that did not happen as we saw, right? So the idea here is that, again, like I said, Trump is not an idiot, right? So why would he risk running now? Why would he announce on Friday when he can just wait till the end of December, see what happens with Georgia? Because that's if they don't get Georgia, of course they're gonna get Georgia. But like if that does not happen, then there is no point of him running to begin with, right? Again, if he does not have the same pull that he had, when he was president or before, then what's the point of him running again? He's just gonna lose, and it's gonna be so much worse for him, right? To me, it seems very obvious. I don't think he's gonna announce it, but again, this is an opinion. When I say it's obvious, I mean it's obvious to me. I could be wrong. I'm human, right? I'm not Superman, all right? I get things wrong all the time, okay? Well, not all the time, but like I get things wrong sometimes, right? So for me, it seems obvious. It seems the right move to do would just to come out, say something, and then tomorrow that feels important but not very important, and then say, and maybe not even bring it up, or just like to say that he's gonna announce later. But to me, it just makes perfect sense that he just wait to see what's up with Georgia, right? That's in December. That's not very far off. Like, why rush it? Like, it's not like Trump, of course Trump wants DWAC to go up, obviously, but it's not like he wants it to be pumped now because he has calls that he's gonna sell. Like, Like, no, he wants DWAC to grow in value over a long time, right? So, and of course, his nomination and if he wins and becomes president, will go a very long way towards that. So the idea here is that don't forget that this SPAC is not done yet. This still has problems, right? He can end up, if he does not run, he might end up abandoning the whole thing altogether. You know what I mean? Like when Elon gave him an in and he's like, well, you can use Twitter and DWAC at the same time. He was like, I'll think about it. He didn't say no. He didn't say no. He says, I prefer Truth Social, but I'll think, like, I'm not closing the door, right? Again, he's not a stupid man, right? He knows what he's saying. So this is my opinion. This is why I believe puts are the play here. But I kind of saw with the corner of my eye, Philip saying DWAC feels like a straddle. A straddle is not a bad play or something like this whatsoever, because let's face it, if he announced his candidacy, if he says I'm running for president, the stock is going to run a lot, like a lot. This is at least a 20-30%, hell, even 100% move. I would not be shocked to see DWAC go up 100% in value. I would not be shocked, right? I get it. That would make sense to me, right? A bit far-fetched, but I would get it, right? And vice versa, right? Vice versa. I would not be surprised if he does not announce, to see as much as we ran up, we see all the gains just unrolling back, and then maybe some more, right? So we can get, like, again, a 15-20% move on the downside. Now with calls and puts, these would translate to 500-600% moves. So yeah, straddle, let your call go to zero, or put in that whatever one is going to lose, let either one of them go to zero. If the other leg is like up 400%, 500%, yeah, overall you're still up 400%. So yeah, straddle is definitely a very good idea right now, because again, this is my analysis. You guys bring up points that make sense. Like Angelique says, he will say something, maybe DeSantis endorsement. I would be shocked if that was a DeSantis endorsement after what he said. He called them DeSantimonians. I don't think so. Maybe again, no, like again, Trump is pragmatic, if not anything. So maybe, or he will run. That I don't think so. But again, these are all valid points, right? Like you cannot say no 100%, right? That on what Angelique is saying. So it is very, like, this all hinges on what Trump wants to do, and Trump is not someone who's a very predictable person, right? So who knows what he's going to do? So yeah, straddle is not the worst option in my opinion. I think probably Ivy is going to be very, very high on DWAC. I think a lot of people are thinking what we're thinking right now. So maybe get like a couple of weeks out. Again, the move will be big enough that it will cover you if you're going to go with a straddle or puts or calls, right? This to me is a lot of play. So again, it's the 5% stuff. So yeah, I'll probably just go with puts. I don't lately, like with lottos, I don't like the hedging part. Like if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose, right? Like it's a lotto, right? For me, it's for fun, right? Like for me, it's about like doing analysis, coming up with something, and then like seeing if it works out for you or not. And again, like I'm doing this challenge, like so I want to make it fun for you guys and for myself. So I'll take straight puts. This is not, but straddle. The idea recommended by Philip, very smart, right? Definitely straddle is not a bad option whatsoever. Angelique says 48. I guess is this the house results or the Senate? I don't know what's 48. David Wang is saying it's also options expiry week. You mean OPEC? Yeah, it is probably. And I also think like next week is going to be a very short weekend. I think we have Thanksgiving or some, I don't know. I remember like I think we have a national holiday, and then we have the market closing early the day after or day before. I believe so. Like it closes at 1. So yeah, like it is gonna be a very short week next week. It's not gonna be a very long one. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But that being said, that's our watch list, guys, right? So we don't have a lot of like super crazy stuff happening this week. It's mostly gonna be a technical week. It's gonna be it's gonna rely a lot on technical analysis, and expectations. I don't think the market will make super crazy moves unless something super crazy happens. And you never know. The market absolutely loves to surprises and just He kick us in the nuts out of nowhere. Angelique says the day after at 1 p.m. Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember. I remember reading it was like the day after or the day before. So the day after. So I think it was Friday, right? So like Thursday is off, and then Friday market closes at 1, if I remember correctly. So yeah. Anyway, that's our watch list. So now let's have a little look at some news that I came across here, and I'm just gonna have these all load so they can just be all loaded up by the time I get to them. All right. So first piece of news we have here on Twitter is Jim Cramer being Jim Cramer, which is very funny because Elon Musk already famously publicly refused John, who by the way was the CEO of T-Mobile, which is like it's a shit company, right? I'm not even an American. I don't use T-Mobile, and I know it's a fucking shit company. But anyway, not my problem. So basically, he says, Elon Musk, please consider John as the CEO so you can figure out what to do with it as he deals with client-facing issues. Because, of course, T-Mobile is very famous, as is all communication companies, they're very famous for, their customer service, right? I love Elon. You just like, sometimes you're just gonna love Elon, right? He's like, no. He already publicly said no to him when this guy basically tweeted and saying, hey, make me CEO. He's like, no, fuck off, right? So yeah, Jim Cramer basically being Jim Cramer. Not super important news here. Now, this is something that's kind of important here. A lot of people have been reporting, he says 3 so far, but I actually saw a lot more reporting that, people who have API keys connected to Binance, this guy alone had like $1 million, stolen from him. Like, that Axios pump, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but it pretty much like tripled or quadrupled out of nowhere. Just out of that, like, it just like happened immediately out of nowhere, no catalyst, no nothing. Turns out is this guy, they accessed his account using the API, and they bought $1 million worth of Axios, and it just like jumped out of nowhere, right? So so be careful if anyone has any API connected, to Binance. Just honestly, just be safe and get your money out of Binance or any other crypto exchange, just till we see what's what. Like, who knows what's the next one that's going to drop. But yeah, like, this is scary here, and you see, of course, CZ addressing it himself, because we saw crypto.com right now hemorrhaging people because of their accidental transfer of $400 million worth of Ethereum to the wrong wallet, right? And that was weird, right? So the slightest thing now, confidence is so low in crypto and with exchanges that the slightest smallest thing can cause a bank run and will just like bankrupt your company, right? So of course you see him coming out like and addressing this personally, and it does not really look good, to be honest here. This is not a good look, but it's gonna be important for Binance, in my opinion, to get stress test, right? I want to see Binance under pressure, not as some sort of like revenge because I like FTX, but the reason is pressure will show you what companies are good and what companies are bad, and it's going to be very interesting and important to the future of crypto to know if Binance is also built on a house of cards or not. We already know that they're doing a lot of the shitty stuff that FTX is doing. You can't tell me no one in the industry is not doing that. I will never buy it, but like, the question becomes is to what extent, right? A big part of why FTX failed is because their reserves were FTX coins, right? The FTT. So we already know that, Binance has BNB, and a bunch of its reserves are BNB, right? So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. All right. So here we have actually a little bit of some bullish news. So basically, total call options volume hit the highest level of the year this last Friday, right? 2 days ago. And it was one of the highest levels since January 21. That was the GME squeeze, right? So we had the highest level since of call options being bought, basically since the huge GME squeeze. Just like crazy, right? And don't forget, it wasn't just GME. It was GME, it was AMC, it was BlackBerry, it was a whole bunch of other things. People were just buying calls. So just shows you how big, and how everyone was just jumping calls, and people are still bearish for some reason. Anyway, All right. So here, of course, we got this morning a very weird tweet by SBF. So basically, he just says what. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't know what the fuck that is. There's a second part of it. I saw it. It was like the second part of this thread. He just says H. I don't know what the hell is that. I don't know. I don't know if the guy is high or he took too much Adderall or what. But like, yeah, it's just like it was super weird. Like wrong timing, right? So, Fed Walker, this was 13 hours ago, said we're thinking about hiking by 50 points at the next meeting, which is good because Walker has been very hawkish lately, right? So even if someone as hawkish as Waller, says that they're gonna hike by 50 points. You can imagine, of course, other dovish people, other dovish feds, they probably are thinking of maybe 25 or even zero. I don't think it's a good idea, and will probably be 50. But just goes to show, if even Walker is thinking 50 and he's hawkish, maybe things are not so bad as people are making out to be. Just saying. I'm just saying, right? Will says he's pretending to be hacked. Maybe, but like, wouldn't he make it like? Wouldn't he put more effort, right? Like, just what? Like, maybe he put like something like, I don't know, like call out someone or do something, just like act weird so he shows he's hacked. And even if like, I don't know, why would he fake it, right? Like, what does he have to gain? I don't know. This dude, I don't know what he thinks. I don't even want to know. I just thought it was funny. Philip says, I guarantee you SBF is high if he has access right now. But I also like Will's theory. I do like Will's theory. I agree. But yeah, I think he's the dude just popped all the Adderall that he had, and he's just bugging out, like, and he's just like out of his mind. So yeah. All right, so we have here Jeff Bezos says he plans to give away the majority of his 124 billion during his lifetime. So yeah, you and everyone else. So basically, he joins the ranks of Buffett and Bill Gates and all these people who who said that they're gonna give away their money. And I think we can all agree that we guys here, like, we can use your help, Bezos. If you want to give us some of this money, we're not gonna say no. So yeah, I mean, like, we're getting wrecked out here, man. Like, it's markets have not been kind. So don't forget your buddies here at the Ash Show Discord, please. All right. So yeah, okay. So this was a very interesting and weird piece of news here. So of course, some of you guys might have heard that there was an explosion and a few people were killed in Istanbul and the Taksim area, which was very funny because I lived there for a while, close to that area. I stayed there for like, I think like more than a few months. I think it was like 8 months, something like that. Very close to that area. And yeah, so pretty much there was an explosion there and people died. Of course, condolences to their families. But then we see this where the Turkish Interior, the Ministry of the Interior says, we know who's responsible. And then he kind of throws a little bit of shade at the US and says, we don't accept condolences of the US. So the US is somehow complicit, right? So Turkey already has a lot of problems and have been siding with Russia and China and the whole BRICS thing, right? So there's a lot of, and Turkey has been sort of the middleman for a lot of wheat imports and all that stuff. So souring their relationships now, with the US, it could not come at a worse time. This could have a very, very negative impact on commodity prices if that does happen. They have been the link so far between Russia and Europe, when it comes to wheat and oil and some other things. So yeah, this is not really good news, and hopefully does not escalate more than this. But this is something important you need to keep your eye on, because this could be the little thread that you pull on and it just ruins the whole thing. So definitely keep an eye on this. So looks like whatever this tweet was, it was deleted. But I believe it was the tweet where actually you guys were discussing this yesterday, I believe, where SpaceX buys the biggest ad package or whatever. They had the highest ad spend for Twitter, and some people were saying it was bad, and some people were saying Elon is crazy. Some people were saying no, it's okay. I said it's okay, but then when I thought about it, I actually no, I'm gonna change my mind on this one. I don't think this is good. First, Elon Musk sells his share to save Twitter, and now he's using his influence with SpaceX to again pump in more money into Twitter. This shows me two things: a, that things are so much worse than he expected. He did not do his proper DD. He did not calculate this properly. He is in way over his head. If he has to go so far to get this done, if these are the measures that he has to take, then this is not good. Things are much worse than expected. And B, again, is that this signals that he is hurting because the advertisers left, and he was just making it seem like, hey, it's no biggie. You know, I know what I was doing. But apparently, no, it seems like either A, he miscalculated, or B, whatever action they took is actually really affecting the company. So it seems that he is really hurting due to the loss of revenue from the advertisers that left. So we all know, of course, all that translates. SpaceX is a private company. Twitter is now a private company, but all that translates directly to Elon Musk's wealth, which is mostly Tesla stock, which means we can see some pain in Tesla stock, right? So not a good sign for Tesla. It seems like Elon Musk might be a little bit over his head. He's been an asshole lately, but overall, I'm still a huge fan of the guy. I don't think like a few misjudgments and stupidity erases like, you know, like what, 2 decades of like ingenuity and you know, and just like pretty awesome products in my opinion, and awesome companies. So I hope things turn around. I do have Tesla Leap, so for his sake and for my sake, I hope things turn around. I hope like these are all, and I think this was necessary pains. Like he needed, like sometimes, you know, when you get that rich, you forget that, you know, that things can not go your way. You know, money does not solve everything. You know, and you don't have infinite money. And I think this was a good wake-up call for Elon. I think he's starting to realize that, hey, like maybe I should just calm down with this shit, you know? We'll see. Who knows, right? This, of course, is, you know, Biden and Xi Jinping meeting. And it's very, very important because, in my humble opinion, I'm sorry, like, what fucking COVID zero? And this is not an argument for or against COVID or masks or all the stuff. I'm just saying, at this point, there's no country in the world except China who has lockdowns for COVID. There is no way you can convince me that China is not doing this to twist America's arm when it's very much hurting because of inflation, and the economy is really hurt because of inflation due to demand issues, and then tackle onto that also supply issues. It was very weird when Jerome Powell said in the last FOMC meeting that no, that the majority of inflation, almost all of it, is just demand issues, and if we solve demand issues, we don't have to worry supply. When 60% of inflation that we have right now is because of supply chain issues. Is because of supply side issues, right? So China, housing shortage, and the war in Ukraine. 3 issues, major issues that cause 60% of inflation right now. The Fed will, yes, I believe that they can and will control the 40% from the demand side. But what about the other 60%? I think it was a political thing to say, just to get people to trust more in the Fed, which is very important and needed, and I don't fault him for saying that. But in my opinion, I believe that China is just using this as a political move. For how long, I don't know, but like we're seeing this, and this is something that, again, this is the first time since he takes office for a reason, right? Like the timing could not be, you know, more conspicuous. China is in a very bad place right now, and they're gonna have to turn things around. They're gonna have to ease the COVID stuff because they're hurting, and America is hurting too. I think it's at a point where both sides need to calm down a little bit. I think possibly this will be bullish for both countries. I think maybe hopefully something good comes out of this, right? China starts easing their COVID zero policy. I don't think they will immediately stop it, but like we can see gradual easing up to a place where they no longer have it and they move on, because the whole fucking world moved on. China, why haven't you yet, right? So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, all right, so this is something I already told you about, guys. London has lost its crown as Europe's biggest stock market to Paris as the pound sinks, and luxury shares, right? A very big part of the stock listed in France are of course like all the luxury brands, right? And these are not very much affected by inflation and all the stuff. Rich people will keep still buying luxury brand stuff. So these really have not seen their value. These companies have not seen their value affected so much. So of course, they're holding strong or sinking or going down a little bit. But on the other hand, we had like disastrous fiscal policies by Liz Truss. So Paris took over. I think it's temporary. I think once we got the autumn budget on on Thursday, I think the pound is gonna regain a lot of its strength, and London will regain its crown. I think this is just like momentary, right? But still very interesting to see how much damage was done. You know. All right. This is a very confusing tweet because he sort of seems contradicting himself here. He says buying conditions for housing declined to the lowest in history. Not this year or this decade, in history, right? So it is very hard for people to buy houses, which is literally what Jerome Powell said 3 meetings ago is his goal. He literally said that the housing market has to go through pain. I am not paraphrasing, I am quoting here. He said the housing market has to go through pain, right? He said people have to go through pain in the housing market as, so the prices are corrected, right? He said the market needs to go through correction. This is him fulfilling what he said, right? It's now like demand is getting crushed because that is by design, and then like he says everything is fine. He's being, of course, he's joking, he's being ironic. Yes, of course, these things might lead to a recession, obviously, and of course we will feel pain. No one is saying that will be like huge green candles for the next 20-30 years. That's not what I'm saying here, but I am saying that I don't think we'll be making new lows. I don't think that's the case as long as we have good CPI numbers, as long as we keep maintaining, decreasing the CPI. Yeah, I think that's it. I think this is bottom, right? Big stipulation, being, of course, maintaining the momentum we currently have when it comes to labor, when it comes to pricing in the housing market, when it comes to the what you call it, housing labor, and of course, your normal product prices. As long as we maintain our current momentum, it's fine. And of course, the Fed may run into a different problem, which is like deflation if they keep tightening some more. So I think they're at a place where they're just gonna have to let their feet off the gas pedal, just because they might be afraid to get into a place where we're already seeing deflation on some of the products already, right? So it's just something to keep in mind here. This is the AMD, of course, pre-market rally on upgrade. We discussed that. Fed Wallers warns the market not to get carried away by one CPI report, says long way to go. Like I said, the guy is, pretty hawkish, but in this case, this is a very, very reasonable thing to say. Yes, one CPI report down, it does not mean this is the end. Like I said, it is a must that we get a second one that is still down, right? This gives us, sort of like kind of improves our odds here. So the next CPI report is literally make or break. Literally make or break for the market, right? There's nothing more important. Ukraine's President Zelensky says, we are moving forward and we are ready for peace. Peace for all our country. Huge shift in tones, right? Some people, I saw some comments here, I think they're gone now, but some people were like, the timing could not, because there's this conspiracy theory that this is how people were laundering money. The Democrats were laundering money by giving money to, because, again, the Ukraine was getting the money through FTX, right? They had to go through crypto, right? So they were getting it through FTX. Now, of course, this money was immediately converted into fiat and, paid to Ukraine's bank of choice, I guess, right? So anyway, but a lot of people, it was funny because a lot of people were saying like the timing could not have been like better. Like FTX crashes and then he immediately, of course, comes out and says that. But hey, this is, again, remember what we're talking about, 3 drivers of supply side inflation, and one of them, a very important one of them, is the war in Ukraine. So again, another bullish thing for the market here. If the war in Ukraine ends, this is gonna, you're gonna see a very big rally in the market for sure. Not huge, but you're gonna see a decent rally in the market, right? Might be another like 3-4% day just on the news alone, because a lot of the inflation that we have, is due to that, right? So something to look forward to. And of course, like besides the market, who wants war, right? So fingers crossed. And the final piece of news here we have is this. Now, while this supports what I'm saying, and I am feeling nice and bullish here, but what I said this on the day of the CPI, I said Goldman Sachs almost always gets it right, and I predicted 7.7, 7.8. It came out 7.7. Goldman Sachs predicted 7.9. Morgan Stanley, I believe, predicted 8.1. Like pretty far off. And I said Goldman Sachs almost always gets it right. Morgan Stanley almost always gets it wrong. So these are their predictions, by December of next year. So that's December 2023, right? So they believe annual CPI will be below the Fed's 2% target. They believe outright deflation in core goods, and they believe the FMOC and the Feds will basically begin cutting rates. This one might be one of the very rare times where I actually agree with them. Again, this is what I'm saying. You're seeing a lot of like Twitter furrows, and influencers being unbelievably bearish, and I have yet to see not even a good or bad argument. I've yet to see like any sort of argument. They're just like, no, market will go down. No, we'll make new lows. No, no. Okay, fine. I am open to the idea that we'll make new lows. Cool. But why do you believe so? Like, what is your theory? What is your argument here? Convince me, right? Again, you guys know me. I'm not a bull. I'm not a bear. I'm not I don't get married to ideas. I don't get married to stocks. I don't care, right? If right now someone in chat pops up with a bearish thesis that we're gonna make new lows, and I think it makes sense, I'm gonna immediately shift my tone. I don't care. I just want to make money. That's all I care about. But right now, that's not what the market is telling me. That's not what the data is telling me. That's not what the charts are telling me, right? So, yeah. So at this point, even Morgan Stanley is seeing this. Now, of course, they're talking about December of next year, so that's still 12 months out from now. A lot can happen during these 12 months. But yeah, and Kathy Wood, for those of you guys who don't know, came out and said that we're not just gonna recover. We're gonna have sort of like a roaring 20s, sort of recovery, that we're gonna see, stocks run wild, the market run wild. And I don't disagree with her per se. I don't think it will be to that extent, but I don't disagree with her. Again, overall, no. Again, I think we're about to get like very bullish. I think we're at least at the end of the year. I think we get a nice run, and I think things are not so bad as things make them out to be. I think the market priced in way too much pain, way too much pain. People coming out and say SPX was going to be 2,800 and 2,900. Yeah, I mean, again, we'll have to wait and see. But everything so far bullish. So Ken says, good morning. Morning to you, Ken. How's it going, buddy? Says, sorry, joined late. Did we go through the watch list already? Yeah, man, I'm sorry. We did. But feel free to rewind the video and go through the watch list. There's also, for those of you who don't know, you can just join the Discord and you will find it in the channel there. You'll find the whole watch list written out for you, so you can just have a look at that whenever you want. Cizian says, man. Exactly. Hybrid. All right. So half an hour to the market open. While the market does its thing, I'm just gonna take 2 minutes to see what's up with my dog, and just take a little break here. And then once I come back, we're gonna go all over the charts. So we're gonna go over, of course, the futures, the SPY, SPX, our levels for today, the components, so semiconductors, finance sector, tech sector, all the stuff. We're gonna go through that till the market opens. And of course, anyone has any questions or anything, just feel free to leave them in the chat, and I'll answer them as soon as I get back. So I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. back. Hope you guys didn't leave. Hope I was not gone for long. I apologize. You might have heard my dogs. I don't know if I don't know, like, with the noises they make, I don't know if I can even call them dogs, but yeah, my beasts. My beasts. Sizian says the man bear bull thing is a South Park reference. Sizian, if you're here, what kind of man do you take me to be? Do you think I'm an uncultured person who does not watch South Park? Shame on you. I'm a man of refined taste. Of course, I get the reference. Of course, I watch South Park. Shame on you. Shame on you. I thought so much more of you, man. How can you think so little of me? Shame. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm mad, and I'll be waiting for my apology. All right. So that being said, that being said, let's go over the future, the VIX, and the components of the market. Just making sure. All right, that's a good one. Okay, so let's start with the futures, right? Let's see what the futures are doing here. And we covered this already at the beginning of the stream, but again, so far seems to be consolidating. Very obvious consolidation here. By the way, if you like to play futures pre-market, and if you can, find a range like this could be an excellent opportunity for scalps, right? So let's say, I'll just give you a very quick example here. And I don't think Sandeep is with us right now. He's probably at work. But if you're watching this, Sandeep, this is specifically for you. And anyone, of course, who trades futures. Look at this here. So we established a very obvious channel here, right? Now, of course, at that point, it's not going to be that clear here. Let's say, we have only this part, like this part does not exist yet. We have this part, but we have very obvious intraday resistance here and very obvious intraday support here, right? So this was the open of the day. We had the gap, right? So all we have to do is, we saw here, 1 rejection, 2 rejection, right? 2 rejections of the resistance and 2 rejections of the support. Very obvious that we're just going to consolidate here a little bit. All you have to do is super easy. Wait till it goes up and then start scalping puts, right? So start scalping on the way down. So for example, it goes up here. This is where I would, somewhere around here, this is where I would take, in that case, it won't be a put, it will be short. So this is where I will start. I will take a mini contract or micro contract or wherever you take short, right? And then I play it all the way down, to here, to this MA, to the 21 MA or the 50 MA, and then I get out, and then I go up again, and then I would take another put, and then another short, and then I wait for it to touch the MA, and then I would get out, right? And here I wouldn't take anything. Why? Because it went down too much. It's under my it's under my 50 MA and 21 MA. I don't know if it will go down to hit 200 MA or not, so I just let it play out. So chops, not much movement here. Then we see a huge rejection, relatively huge rejection of the 21 MA, breaks through the 21 MA again. Here, no place. When it gets to this point where it's when it's down a lot, right? So we obviously see here it's down a lot. The RSI is oversold and it's very close to our support line here, very close. Now, of course, this here would be the low of the day. But again, this is a wick, so the body is here, so we can expect, of course, a little bit of a bounce. We can't expect it will do this, but we can expect it will go up from here to here. Again, if you're playing a mini contract costs just $500, guys, just $500, and a 1 point move gets you $60, right? So if you got in here when the RSI was oversold, right, and right at the low of this body, right? So you would get here, let's say somewhere around here, that'll be from 82 all the way to 85. Let's say 86 is 85.75. 86, that's 4 points times 60, that's $240, right? That's a 50% play. You put in 500 and 550 with commission, so 550, you get out 240, right? 50% play in just literally 10-15 minutes, right? This is like 3 candles here, right? So again, you can like this. And by the way, pre-market moves very slow, so it's very easy to take your time and take your measurements and get in, and get out. Look, again, this here is even a little bit more active. But look at this candle. Like, you can sit here and watch this for like a full like couple of minutes before deciding, hey, should I go long? Should I short this? Right? And again, using the same logic here, what would I do? I would wait for it to be somewhere here in this region, and I would take shorts, right? So I have my bias for the day that today probably will be a pullback day. So it is safer for me to go with the trend and get a short, right? So here, when it gets here, I would short on this candle or this candle here, and I would ride it all the way to the next MA. So I would get out here on the 200 MA. I'll probably miss this move to the 21 MA, but that's cool, right? If I get somewhere here, like it goes up here and I find it going up, I take a short, let's say here. So that's 3993, and it goes all the way down to the 200 MA. I'm not going to get the 21 MA because hindsight is 2020, but at that point, I don't know where this candle ends. It's a scalp, so I get out here at 3985. Again, 4 points times 60, that's another $240, right? If you just took these two trades, you made $500 before even starting the day, before even starting trading, on just two plays that you could very lazily and easily take, right? Again, you could take a short here right now, wait for this candle to go up a little bit here, take a short and wait for it to go down, right? And let's say hit the 50 MA and get out, right? Or keep it till the end of the day. Your bias for the day is short. If you take anything here, you can expect it to go down, right? Hit this level here, probably even lower, right? So as long as your bias for the day works out, you're good, right? So yeah, this is like some easy scalping techniques that you can just utilize, make some quick money before the market opens. Will says, I thought one contract was 1500. No, one mini contract is 550. One micro contract is $55. It's 1/10. Now it is it's different from platform to platform. So Tradeovate, the one that I use, those are the prices. IKBR, the one I use for options, for one mini contract that's worth $550 on Tradeovate, it's $12,000, right? You still make the same money in whatever platform, right? But it's $12,000, and it is $1100 for one micro contract that costs $55 on Tradeovate, right? So of course there are like advantages and disadvantages, because if you have a lot of margin, you're tempted to take a bigger position and you can lose more money, right? So again, using just the same thing that I explained here, and I said like we get somewhere around here. Look at this. So from here, that's 391, right? 391 at 388, that's 3 points. If I get out right now on this candle here, if I get out immediately, 3 points times 60, that's $180. That I just made literally talking to you right now. It's less than 40 seconds, right? I can leave and wait for this to hit the 50 MA using our strategy, and just wait for it to hit the 50 MA and get out. What happens if it moves up on me again? I will just let it go and then average down here, get another contract, because I know it will keep going down some more, right? So some very, very easy strategies that you can use, right? Or you can even place a stop loss just like above the 21 MA and get out and then get in again, right? So some very, very easy scalps, some very easy plays. I know I keep saying I'm gonna make a futures and Tradeovate video, and I don't. I'm really sorry, guys. It's just like with my girlfriend gone, like just like everything is crazy. But I promise I will sit down sometime this week and I will get the video done, and I'm gonna put strategies on there, and it's gonna be like super friendly for someone who's just starting out in futures, because there's a lot of things when I started out that I could not find a single video on YouTube that was talking about them, right? So I will definitely do that video. I've been strictly scalping futures for the past 2 weeks and love it more than options. There you go. Honestly, me too. I kind of like futures more than options. I'm not gonna lie. The more you do futures, the more you kind of like, what's the fucking point of options, you know? It's just so simplified, so easy. You can exit, like at a certain price and get out at a certain price. You can, trade on resistance and supports very easily, because you know exactly where your resistance is and where your supports is. Like, for example, I don't even have to look at this. I could, when I woke up, I could just place an order to short whenever it hits here, 3944, right? And then it will fill whenever it fills, and it fills here because I know this is my resistance. And then I press and then place another order to cover, right here at the 379, right? and I will leave it and I'll let it fill whenever it wants to fill, because I already figured out my bias for today is short, right? I expect a pullback today, so it will fill whenever it will fill, right? So I probably place a stop loss around like this intraday level here from the other day, right? From when it closed, place a stop here just in case so it doesn't run amok. And yeah, this would have been what, from 394 to 279. That would be a 15-point move, right? So we're talking $1,000 plus without having really to do much. So uh, you can like, if you're good with technical analysis, the sky is the limit when it comes to futures. So yeah. All right, enough with that. Back to our analysis. We already covered our levels for today here. Nasdaq is down 0.6%. That means tech is hurting a lot more than the market, almost twice as much, right? Gold is going down a little bit here. Commodities pretty much either down a little bit, only silver is up a little bit. So I wouldn't say commodities are hurting that much. Natty gas, man, this thing, I swear to God, like, it's a day trader's dream at this point, right? Every other day up 8%, down 9%, just nuts, just nuts. All right, so let's see what else we have here. Now, interesting to note that Hang Seng, the Chinese index for tech mostly, closed up 1.7%, so they were bullish. This is probably driven by crypto, which was bullish in the morning, right? So for the since late at night my time, all the way up to the morning, yeah, crypto was pretty green, right? So I think expectations for the market were today will be green as well, and based off that, the Hang Seng just ran off a little bit here. And of course, there's rumors and people saying that COVID zero policy in China is relaxing a lot than before. It's still very strict, but comparatively or relatively speaking, it is relaxing. So that's good news for them. And for the rest of the world, obviously, China being the factory of the world, it is very, very important. We already covered that, AMD beasting up 4%. Man, my biggest regret is selling those AMD leaps. I should have kept those. Our strikes were 70. We're at this point would have been deep in the money. I'm not one to regret much when it comes to stock market. Opportunities are a dime a dozen, but yeah, this would have been like an absolute, ace in the hole. If anyone still has those leaps, congratulations, man. You must be rolling in the dough now. But yeah, Nvidia, how's Nvidia doing? Weak in relative to AMD. But not unexpected, down 0.4%, which is pretty much in line with the market. So we know that AMD is pumping because of the upgrade that it got. Intel is down 0.4%. So yeah, I mean, semiconductor sector just going with the market, with the exception of AMD. So nothing really that stands out here. Pretty normal. Tesla down more than average, right? So Tesla 1.6% down. Maybe you guys saw the video. It was a horrible video where there was a runaway car, and it just kept speeding and speeding and speeding. The driver could not control it until it crashed a bunch of people on the way. It was just very sad to see it. And I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna defend Tesla here and say, well, other cars do accidents as well. It all happens, blah blah blah. Growing pains, part of it. It's just sad to see this for Tesla and for the people who got hurt. So, but yeah, it makes sense that Tesla will be a little bit down more than average here. But again, you compare Tesla to AMD, for example, that we just here, and you see the chart is comparatively not, again, look at this one here, right? Huge, very strong momentum in AMD, right? Probably the same thing here in Nvidia, but we don't see the same momentum that we have in the SPY, the futures with Tesla. This is why Tesla is a good buy for leaps or for shares long term, because it is beaten down due to a lot of external factors that will be resolved sooner or later, right? So yeah, Tesla might be a possible buy today as a call, depending on how the market goes. We'll see, right? So Apple, how's Apple doing? Apple, considered by most pretty much the market at this point, honestly. Down 0.8%, a little bit more than the market here. But as again, like look, Apple, like moving with AMD, moving with the market, right? Still has the same structure, so that makes sense, right? So a little bit of consolidation here, moving along with the market. As long as it's between those levels here, keeps consolidating, we can expect a run up, or of course we can expect a healthy pullback to the 143.6 level. I would expect this level to hold here, and then bounce off if we were to run some more. But anything other than that, this is risky territory. Amazon Beast, almost $101 here. Just been running like crazy for the past couple of days. Down a little bit more than the mark here, 1.6. But again, Amazon and Microsoft, I would not follow them for going down here because they've really been very strong, relatively speaking, to the market. So a little bit of a healthy pullback is much needed, much appreciated. Yeah, as you can see here, Microsoft down 1.4%. So yeah, that's in line with expectations. Nothing worrying here, nothing crazy. Netflix, we got Netflix leaps, and Netflix relatively strong to the market, down 0.7% only. We can see here huge strong volume coming in, huge big runs here. Stronger even structure wise when compared to the other stocks that we looked at. So that should be good for our leaps. I see we have a question here. Philip is saying, is there a scenario in which DWAC trades sideways after the 15th? Asking for my Strider play. I think if he delays, again, DWAC tanks in the short term. So I'm probably still okay. Agreed. Well, the whole idea here is that whatever play we're taking, puts, calls, straddles, anything that you're taking, for me, DWAC is a short-term play. And by short-term, I mean like it starts and ends tomorrow, right? The 15th, his announcement. The whole idea is that he either announces or he does not announce, right? Anything but announces, the stock goes down, right? So delay, does not announce, does not show up, it's rainy, whatever it is, as long as the words coming out of his mouth are not that I will run for president, then yeah, then DWAC will probably, like you said, short term, yeah, we can definitely see DWAC fall. And hey, if he delays us some more, then he's probably, as per my prediction, he's probably waiting for the Georgia, and then it might even present another opportunity to buy calls cheap, right? Because it will drop, we'll cash on puts, we'll get out, and then this gives us an opportunity to possibly get calls cheap if he does run again. So we're just gonna have to wait and see on this one. So how's Meta doing? Meta kind of weak here a little bit after showing a lot of strength. So you can see here it's consolidating way before other stocks were, which makes sense. Meta had some very welcomed news, by a bunch of people here that they're cutting down on their costs, they're firing a lot of people. The market really loved that news, and we saw, of course, it going back to the above the 110 level, which is very good for it. Right now, it's consolidating. So yeah, can't really ask more from Meta here. Very healthy and expected consolidation. And like I said, like you look in here, you see a run, consolidation for a couple of days, and then run. A little bit of consolidation after hours, and then run. And now it's consolidating here, hopefully for another run. So yeah, I'm not seeing anything bearish here either. Itachi is saying Amazon just an absolute beast. Indeed it is, sir. Indeed it is. Tawheed is asking, how do you think coin is going to be affected with the recent crypto news? I think coin is going to be as volatile as a penny stock for the next couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. Any good news to crypto will hurt it, and any bad news for crypto will pump it. I would not really hold coin long term. I will play coin day by day. I think coin will be an excellent day trade for the coming couple of weeks based on news. So if you're someone who's in front of the news all the time, you're on Twitter all the time, or you have access to some service where you're or some screener or something and you're always kind of like in sync with the news, I think coin will be your best friend here. Like you can see here, of course, a shit ton of volatility in the stock, right? 10-12% days every day. So if you're able to guess what direction it will go at, then of course you're gonna be able to make some very nice money off coin. But you can expect anything. People are a little bit worried about Binance, about Kraken, about anyone. Coin will tank because crypto will tank, right? Comes out that FTX is just contained to a few companies, and Binance, for example, has no exposure. Coin will run, right? So I would just like be very careful here with coin in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. Uh, Itachi is saying, would you add more to Amazon at these levels? I would wait and see how today goes, right? I just want to see, like, again, is it consolidation run or not? At the very least, I would wait for PPI tomorrow, right? Like, let's see what PPI is like. Probably nothing, and we'll probably run, but like, again, I don't expect a huge move from between yesterday and tomorrow, so why not just wait for it? If PPI is bad and it goes down some more, I will definitely add then. If not, then again, like, I don't add unless I get a buying opportunity, and today is not yet a buying opportunity. It will be at some point, but yet I don't feel like it's a buying opportunity. So I don't have Amazon yet. I recommended it, but I have Netflix, and I have Tesla. I regret not getting Amazon and AMD. I had plans on getting both, but I never got around to it. My bad, but I do believe there will be other opportunities. I'm definitely waiting for a pullback here, but on a pullback, I will be getting an AMD. I'll be getting an Amazon. Just hopefully the pullback comes sooner rather than later, so we can catch a nice chunk of the move here. Angelique says GS just downgraded coin nearly now. Yeah, I mean, like, expect a lot of that. Like, Angelique, think about this. They're not really downgrading it because they think it's a bad stock or the price is unfair or whatever. They're just distancing them themselves, right? It is just like I don't know, like, if your best friend in the world is suddenly like outed as a thief, right? You might start like distancing yourself from him when other people are around, because you don't want to be guilty by association, right? So you're gonna see everyone and their mother right now downgrading everything that's crypto related, talking smack about all crypto related stuff. I expect to see a lot of this, and this is good because I think coin calls at a certain point, which I don't know when, will become a very, very good point. It will become a very good call. I do plan on getting coin calls leaps at some point. I'm just waiting for things to calm down, because right now it is just like, I feel it's all over the place. It is too risky. I don't want to risk it. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna wait, right? Itachi says, okay, Bresky, thanks. You're very welcome, my good friend. And Itachi also asks, Baba, November 18th, 70p. As long as it's close to the money, I think 70p is close to the money. So I don't think you have a problem with the strike. Yeah, 70p sounds good. November 18th, check the IV. I don't have the I. Hold on, let me just check here. Let me check the IV for you. Just give me 1 second here, because I need to re-log in into my account. Face ID. Smile for the camera. And we're good again. Alright, so what do you want to see here? We want to see IV for Baba. It's probably going to be very high. Oh, not so bad. So far it's 87.5%. So that's not the worst IV I've ever seen. Especially given like how close earnings are. So yeah, I mean, it'll probably change by the open. It might shoot up, but yeah, at 87.5% IV, it's not the end of the world here. I don't know what number you're seeing, but if you're getting something close 70s, 80s, given that like earnings are like in just like a few days, then yeah, go for it. Right. So okay, so we looked at all our tech. Let's see what finance is doing here. Sorry, let's see what healthcare is doing here. So we already had a look at the market opened. Okay, cool. The market opened. Let's see what's up here. So just quickly here, look. We didn't even look at the VIX. All right, but we already spoke at the VIX when it came to our watch list, so we kind of know what we're gonna do here. Spy, 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 spy. All right, so hope you guys remember the four levels that we look at every day at the open. We basically try to figure out a range here. So we already have a support at the low of at the low of the pre-market here. So that's one level already at 396.8, and then another level will be right here. So this will be an intraday level here. So let's get our handy horizontal line and add one here just as an intraday level, so we know. So 399.27 is yesterday's high, and I don't want to say the pre-market high per se. Technically it is, but this will be the pre-market high here. But you kind of confuse them in one. It's not a big deal. And then we have yesterday's low. Technically is here, but still 395 is an important level. So this is our range for today here. The low of the range is 394, and at top of the range is 399. So quite a healthy range. And if we get another consolidation day, we can definitely see a chopping here. Knowing our levels, we can just keep scalping this on the way up, on the way down. This could definitely be something that whoops, sorry about that. This can be definitely something that we can benefit here from. But of course, if it does the unthinkable and it blasts through 399 and says enough, I'm done with consolidation, I want to keep running, then above 399, this is where I take calls. And of course below 394, this is where I'm gonna jump into puts, right? So so far just keeping it simple here. We're not getting anything different or crazy at the open here. As a matter of fact, it feels like, yeah, the volume is like very ugly so far. I think people are a little bit hungover from yesterday. VIX is up almost 5.5%. SPY is down 0.2%. QQQ down 0.7%. Not much change from how things were before open. AMD down a little bit here, up only 2%, which makes sense because a lot of people were not expecting this. A lot of people will be cashing on their profits now. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Coin down 6%. Ooh, this Cizian says he's grabbing a call. Might join you on that one, buddy. Might join you on that one. Damn, look at this. DWAC up 8%. Yeah, a lot of people going in for tomorrow's announcement. It's gonna be very volatile here for a little bit. So I'm guessing a lot of people thinking, that like Trump is gonna announce tomorrow. They're preparing themselves, so and I don't fault them. It makes sense, right? It's not the craziest thing in the world to see. I have a little bit of a difference in opinion here, but does not mean I'm right. They could be right too. I have here one SPY call for Friday. I'm just gonna close this one. I don't really need it at this point. Just gonna, crowd everything here for me. All right, we got rid of it. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna join Cizian here and get a call on Queen. I'm seeing, of course, some, this is the low of the range here. This is, some support here, right? So let's see how much Queen calls are worth. Options chain. Wow, Coin IV is 160%. That is just nuts. Very volatile. Very, very volatile. All right, so calls here are not super expensive. So I think I'm gonna get 158 that expires on Friday for a possible call for today. Let's see here. One, please and thank you. All right, order filled. I'm just gonna build this position as it moves here, right? So as this moves, if this keeps going down some more, because I think that might probably go all the way down to 53, then we'll just like add some more. If I see a relative strength, of course I will also still add some more. But yeah, for me this is probably just gonna be like a little nice scalp here at the open. So yeah, just gonna wait and see here. What coin calls? Friday calls. Try to get something at the money, if possible. Always strike always at the money, guys. Like you don't even need to ask. The only reason I would get something not at the money is if I don't have money or I'm planning to use the money for something else. But always get at the money where possible. And I'm just getting Friday because it's the soonest thing I can get. If there was same day, I would definitely get same day. This is not a swing for me probably. Yeah. Crypto falling here a little bit, probably of course because of the open here, with Ethereum and with coin and all this stuff. Interesting. Silvergate is up 2.5%, but coin is down 6%. Very very interesting. It had a very big run after hours yesterday, almost to 41. That's just nuts. Look at it. It's up almost 4% again. Just crazy. Silver. By the way, this is just like a crypto fun thing for those of you who don't know. So, yeah. Are we gonna let? I'm gonna let this coin thing. We're already up a little bit here. We're up like 10% on calls. So, not a good idea. Not a bad idea to cut if you guys want. I'm just gonna give it a minute here, let it play out. See what the market wants to do for today. Let's see here. What are our futures looking at? All right. So, Danielle saying, "Hey Ash, late to the stream. What kind of position are you planning on taking on for DWAG?" Puts. So far, like we discussed this, and you can read about it in the watch list as well. But for DWAG, I'm taking puts. Philip suggested straddle as a play, and we all agreed that straddle is an excellent play for this type of situation because it's very risky. So straddle is not the worst idea for it. I said I'm taking a risky play here. Again, I will repeat, guys. Me taking just puts instead of a straddle. I'm just doing this for fun, right? I don't expect to make a lot of money off this. I'm just like doing it, for just to see if my analysis is correct. So please bet accordingly. If you want to make money off this and you want a good risk management, then take a straddle. It will just, protect you as much as possible, and you have still the chance to get out making some very nice, money off this. Tash is asking November 18th, 25p. That makes sense as well. As long as it's close to the money and does not expire today, then go for it. Yeah, because again, remember, we're playing tomorrow, guys. Like, I'm not talking about DWAG for the future. It could run or could fail in the future. Like, this is not the research, or analysis that I did on it. I was just looking at, tomorrow. That's it. Tesla down, Apple down, Amazon down. I don't know, like we're seeing weird relative strength here. Off the on the SPY, but it's not reciprocated elsewhere, right? Like, kind of unsure even where it's coming from. You know what I mean? I just got out of my coin play because I was up like 40% on that. So Cizian, buddy, thanks for the heads up. Nice quick 40% small play, very small play. But money is money. I don't care. So we all have Cizian to thank for that. Very good, smart play here. By the way, have you added for Apple, or would you add an Apple position? Apple has been extremely strong throughout all of this. So I don't believe if the market turns around and it's bullish, I don't believe it will run as hard as these other guys are. So I think there are other positions that are relatively weak and have more room to run. So I'd rather put in my money in something like AMD that has been heavily beaten down, or Tesla, or something like that. Amazon, so a lot of pain. Than Apple that was kind of holding its own really for the most part. So yeah. Angelique says, yes, thank you, out to 20%. Indeed, thank you again, Cizian. Very nice play. Yep, she says sounds good. So all's well here. Okay, so again, using the same strategy that I was talking about, our bias is bearish for the day, right? So if we, this is one of the other reasons I got out of coin quickly, by the way, because everything here seems to be going down. I think the market overall will start pulling back soon. So right here would have been an excellent place to take some shorts, right, for the futures, right? Here, I mean, I kind of really want to take some shorts here, maybe even start building a position. I'm not sure. The problem, like, it's down too much. I would love to see it like reclaim the 20 MA here. Ideally, I wanted to get in here. This would have been like the perfect place to get in for a short. By this point would be like trimming or all out, but hey, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. It's not a big deal. You know, you can't get everything the way you want it all the time. We're gonna be patient. We're gonna be smart here. We're gonna wait for an opportunity, right? So looks like it really wants to die here. Damn you, FOMO. You're not gonna have my soul, buddy. You're not gonna have my money. FOMO really wants my money. Angelique says my HD puts alive again. Nice, congrats, Angelique. But I'll tell you something though, like, and I said this in the morning in the Discord. If you have an earnings play, anything but earnings should not concern you, right? So regardless, like, you have this play for a specific purpose, so you should just ignore it. So yeah, healthcare, look at this healthcare sector, like, strong rebound here. Merck up 2%, Lilly up almost 1%, Pfizer up 2%, AstraZeneca 2%, right? Moderna 4%. So very, very strong rebound here in the healthcare sector. Oh, this candle, look at this candle in the futures. It was so shortable. AMC got halted. Ooh, I want to see AMC. I want to see AMC getting halted. AMC also one of those cheap calls, puts plays that moves a lot with the market or with news. So yeah. Itachi says, okay, loaded up on November 18th, 25 DWAC and Baba. Remember, buddy, these are a lot of plays, so make sure you're sized correctly. You're not, going over the top here. I know we got a lot of good plays, like, in a row, and we've been on a roll here, but we are right till the day we're wrong, right? So just be careful here. Make sure you size appropriately and responsibly. Angelique says I have November 25 puts. Nice. That those should not be screwed by IV much. Would you short AMC? That's what I'm trying to find out, right? Because I think if it loses the 50 MA, then it's a very obvious drop here to the 200 MA, right? Like, this can come quick. The $1,000,000 question is, why the hell is AMC up to begin with? AMC stock is surging. What's going on? Well, that's what we're trying to figure out, right? Can you please tell us? Wall Street bet stock mixed, poised to decline. AMC to rise. So you're just not gonna tell us? Well, that's clickbait if I ever saw some. Oh yeah, look at this. We sort of have some sort of, we can say, right, like this level here, this can act as support, right? The problem is that the 50 MA has not been tested yet. I'm gonna wait for a retest at the 50 MA and short it then. I take puts. Angelique says, exactly, AMC, why are you up? I don't know. Danielle says Black Panther release was the biggest movie release for November, I believe. Okay, yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. Not the strongest catalyst, in my opinion, but one movie is not gonna save AMC, in my humble opinion. Could be wrong, but yeah. Itachi says, if you had a fan blowing in your hair in the background, watch the music. Yeah, we just like, I just need long hair though. My hair is not long enough. There you go. Keep going, buddy. Show me the 50 MA touch. Also, guys, if you're gonna short AMC, please be careful, right? So because you know these guys are nuts, right? You can see volume coming out of nowhere. Uh, I mean, they're not as strong as they used to be, but it does happen occasionally, right? The stock is not very liquid, so be careful, right? And always go for puts. Don't go for shares. I know shares are super cheap, and you don't have to worry about delta and all that crap. But puts have X amount of money to lose, right? You lose them or you don't lose them. So I believe I am going to place and puts order here. I'm gonna get 3, 4. Can I get 4? I can get 4. All right, so I got 4 puts at the money for AMC here. Basically, the hope here is that we reject off the 50 MA. If this goes all the way up here and it breaks the 21 MA, I'm out. I'm done. So the idea here is this is what I'm risking, and this is what I stand to gain. So it's almost a 2-to-1 gain. So yeah, this is my sort of play here, right? And of course, you know, we know AMC moves with the market. So if the market turns red, it can lose the 5% and go all the way down, right? So that can be something possible here. Spam. We got a spam. The more spam we get, that means we're making it, guys. And spam does not make sense. It literally says my hot photo here. The idiot bot forget to put his actual photo. Idiots. Put user in timeout, add moderator, go to channel, pin, report. Here you go, report. I'm gonna go with pornographic or sexually explicit material. Shame on you. No porn for you guys. I am itching to add more Amazon. Well, again, when you're dealing with leaps, my friend, think long term, right? So don't think about now. Think about like, is the price good for now, right? Don't just think about don't think about it in a way that you would think about a swing. If you feel that Amazon is gonna go up like within the next week, then you can always get like short-term plays, you know, just to tide you over, you know, and you already have your leaps, you know what I mean? But I would only add on leaps at significant moments, at significant events, right? A nice pullback, you know, if I know a very good catalyst is coming up, stuff like that. Like ads to leaps should be only at like very meaningful moments, right? The last thing you want to see is PPI come out bad tomorrow, the market starts turning around and you lose all your gains and then you start going in red, right? Like, I'm sure that's the last thing you want to see. So be careful here. Angelique says, what strike on AMC? Like I said, always add the money. Always. I think it was 7.5 for me. Yeah, 7.5. Always add the money, right? Okay. Cool. All right, so we're gonna let AMC do its thing here, right? And yeah, let's see here. BuzzFeed, for those of you who don't know, is a public company. And to that, all I can say is LOL, you know. But yeah, it's a penny stock now. It was one of the SPAC plays. They have earnings tomorrow, so possible short, I believe. In case anyone interesting, it's gonna. It's on my penny stocks watch list, which weekly watch list, which I'll put out later towards the end of the day. But yeah, let's. All right, so dollar gaining strength here, of course, on a down day makes sense, you know. Coin, good thing that we got out. It went down some more here. But looks like crypto is bouncing back a little bit, right? Looks like crypto is bouncing back. For some reason, ADA is not moving with the market. Actually, for some reason, ADA is not moving at all. What's wrong with ADE? Is that halted for some reason or something? Oh, there you go. That makes more sense. But it seems to be the only red one out of these guys. DWAG up a lot. Definitely we'll be looking to add some puts here soon for DWAG. Not puts, like a small